What is going on, everybody? Hope you're enjoying your Monday. This is NYG Jeffy T 3285, and I'm here to do a quick video about the newest New York Mets prospect that was drafted in the MLB Major League Baseball draft last night. And I'm talking about, at the number 11 pick, the New York Mets selected out of Georgia Tech catching prospect Kevin Parada. Now, Kevin Parada has been known as he's the 16th consecutive catcher to be selected out of Georgia Tech in a long lineage of very, very strong Georgia Tech catchers. And he's the 16th one to be selected ever since 1994 when Boston Red Sox legendary catcher Jason Varitek was selected there. Now, Kevin Parada is going to be another one of those big-time catching prospects the New York Mets are going to be hoping will mold into one of the big-time catchers of the future. And him, along with Fransisco Alvarez, give the New York Mets a very strong catching duo to mold for the future and for the New York Mets in Flushing for the next however many years, 10, 15 years hopefully. Kevin Parada actually had a pretty strong 2021 season when he was playing in his freshman year for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. He actually ended up batting .318 with 9 home runs, 2 doubles, and he was named a freshman All-American that year. So the kid actually has a lot of power that he's going to hopefully bring to the New York Mets farm system and obviously to the New York Mets Major League team going into the future. And he was able to build on that in his 2022 season, where he was able to bat an incredibly high .360 with 26 home runs, 85 RBIs, 74 runs scored, and also was able to accumulate 85 hits. And he was named the first team All-American for Georgia Tech that year. So obviously this kid has got a tremendous power. This guy is able to hit the ball all around the field. He was able to hit at least 15 home runs towards the center field, which means this kid's got tremendous power, sort of like what Fransisco Alvarez possesses. And he's also the second. He's the second New York Mets catcher drafted in the first round since a guy named Alan Zinter, who was drafted by the New York Mets in 1989. So it's been a long time since the New York Mets have actually drafted a catcher in the first round since Alan Zinter in 1989. But this kid actually has a lot of tremendous upside. And some people might think, oh, is this just a redundant pick? Like, why are the New York Mets drafting a catcher this highly when they got a guy like Fransisco Alvarez, who currently right now is the number 2 prospect in the entire major leagues in terms of Major League Baseball prospects? It does not hurt to draft a guy with incredible high upside and talent. And you have to not forget that the DH is now implemented in the National League. So, if, for instance, if you want to maybe make Fransisco Alvarez into a DH going forward, you can do that with this guy, and then you could have Kevin Parada be your long-term catcher, or the other way around. Maybe Fransisco Alvarez becomes your catcher, and you have Kevin Parada become your long-term DH. It does not hurt to just draft high-end talent. But it's obviously apparent that Kevin Parada has very, very high power, and he's not even that bad of a glove, too, as he's actually been one of the better prospects when it comes to his glove as well. So this is a guy that the New York Mets clearly believe in terms of his talent. And they think that this kid has got incredible upside as a hitter going forward for the New York Mets. And they think he could develop the rest of his game and become an even better catching prospect. So this is obviously a big-time move for the future for the New York Mets. And I'm all 100% for it, because the New York Mets have not had a highly touted catching prospect or even a catcher of high ilk since the days of Mike Piazza and what he was doing for the New York Mets in the late 90s/early 2000s, and even to a lower degree a guy like Lo Duca. The New York Mets have been starving for a great catcher to come out of their system, or just be able to have a high-end catcher on this roster, because the likes of James McCann is not getting the job done. And no disrespect to Thomas Nido, but they're good They're good players in terms of being solid defensive players. But the New York Mets need somebody that's going to scare the opposing team with his bat. And that's exactly what hopefully a Kevin Parada and a Fransisco Alvarez will do. So I'm 100% for this kid. He has high upside. He's a power hitter. hopefully with more development in the minor leagues. That's if he signs with the New York Mets. There's a possibility that maybe he doesn't sign with the New York Mets. You got to still wait for that. But hopefully he signs with this team. And I like the fact that they're going with more power guys at the catching position going forward. So hopefully Kevin Parada will be able to bring another aspect in terms of power to the New York Mets team going forward at the catching position. So that's just my quick little overview of that. And the New York Mets also signed and also drafted in the first round a couple of other players that might be able to bring some more oomph to for the minor league system, and that's infielder Jet Williams, starting pitcher Blade Tidwell, as well as outfielder Nick Marabito. These are other guys the New York Mets draft in the first round that are hopefully going to be able to add some more punch to the New York Mets roster going forward. But that's just my video on Kevin Parada, another big-time catching prospect that the New York Mets have brought into their system that they drafted number 11 in the Major League Baseball 2022 draft. So if you like the video, please hit the like button below. Subscribe if you haven't already to NYG Jeffy T 3285 for more breaking news updates and chatter surrounding the New York Mets. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next shorts or videos that drop surrounding the New York Mets, New York Giants, Brooklyn Nets, WWE Wrestling, as well as some food for thought. And leave a comment below on what you think of the Kevin Parada pick at number 11 for the New York Mets. And if you think this kid is going to be able to bring something to the New York Mets catching position that they have been lacking so long, and what you think about having him and Fransisco Alvarez as two big-time catching prospects going forward into the future. So I hope everybody enjoys their Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend. We all should be very happy as Met fans after the way the Mets have played this past first half. The All-Star break is upon us, and hopefully the New York Mets can be able to continue their success going into the second half of the Major League Baseball season. So hope everybody enjoys their Monday. Take it easy, and let's go New York Mets.